Hello and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is September 25th and we are back in my B building to kind of show one of my rabbit holes I went down today. So the rabbit hole is this whole setup. Well, probably I can include this a little. So what's going on here and why did I do it? This is something I should have set up a while ago. So technically this setup I had before, but I did not or forgot to re-hook it up post adding in the subnets and all that jazz. So we can kind of see here I do have a cable running underground. This whole setup is just Certus quartz and sodium getting input to make some quartz, then outputs to rods. It does have a little mini loop in it to a packager to reuse the small Certus quartz piles, so I'm not just wasting that. Not too big of a deal to conserve it, but I figure might as well instead of just voiding them for no reason. Ultimately, this pops out to quartz fiber. My original intention when I set this up months ago was to then set up the next part to have it to make some glass cable, but just kept getting distracted and never got around to it. I finally did it today because the other stuff I was doing, I kept running out of dense and covered cable and all that kind of stuff, and what you use as the base for both of those is glass, the ME glass cable. I was running out of this because I was running out of flux. I do have a Fluxby going, but he's not fast enough to keep up with the amount of cables I've been laying down the last few days. So this process here, this chemical reactor is making this charged Certus quartz, which then comes in here, mixes with the nether quartz and the redstone, and then the way it kind of works is the way I've set this up to work, I should say, is I am using some drawers and I'm using them to maintain the levels without having to throw them on the level maintainer. This is all just going to be passive, and once it all catches up, it'll last me for a good while. But so this guy outputs directly into the storage bus. The storage bus down here, or this drawer controller, I should say, does have a storage bus on it. So the network sees all these items. And then I am just using the AE network to input items back in. And it's a mixture of the subnet and the main network. The reason I had to bring the main network over is specifically for this guy to be able to input the sand. This makes our little flux seeds, which then come down here and make these pure flux crystals, and then this autoclave over here is making the bigger version, and then ultimately just because the main network can see it and to have it look a little cleaner, the main network is the one outputting this flux dust in here to craft out the cable. And you see I'm already at 3,000, so once I hit 4,000 it'll stop, and that's plenty. Eventually, once everything catches back up, maybe I'll up this so I really don't have to worry about cables if I decide to craft 1,000 dense cable at a time or something. So I could see myself pretty fast getting to the point of wanting to do that. But this is just a pretty simple setup that I should have done a while ago. I like how it turned out. But, so moving on. Whee! Oh, we're hopping over. Actually, I'll get to this last. So the next little rabbit hole we went into is this little single block right here. So this single block is a dehydrator. I haven't actually, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think I've crafted a dehydrator at all up to this point. I did have one HV1 crafted at some point, and I'm not really sure why I had it crafted. I can't remember. It must have been a long time ago, which I may or may not have accidentally exploded because I dropped it down over here and wasn't paying attention. I thought in my head, it was an EV dehydrator, and in my head most of the time when I'm running this power up till now has all been EV power. So I was like, EV, blah blah blah, just a little dirt moment, exploded it. But what we got going on here is this dehydrator is taking care of the rare earth dust. I had not set up any rare earth processing. Not really a big deal because, as you can see, with only 2 in here, my rare earth is all caught up with already. The reason I went with it is because when I was looking ahead at the main goal I actually had today, which was to get tier 3 rocket fuel, get to the page in here, space race, I believe it is this one. Use yeah, right here to make the phthalic anhydride. We got to run this stuff into a dehydrator, and that'll get this dust right here. But I was like, okay, that's gonna be part of the process process line I need to set up. I'm gonna make the multi-block version. The multi-block version, however, is say pretty expensive, but you need this. Not so much this guy right here. So this is the multi-block, but if we look at like the blocks it takes vacuum casings, which when we get to the vacuum casing recipe, we can see, where is it? Oh yeah, sorry, I got myself mixed up. But anyways, so this is another alloy I don't have set up, which is used in both of these parts. And then this guy is we crafted from this molten stuff, which we have to make in here, which, where is it? Tungsten, chrome. No, this stuff's all fine. Hold on, I think I've lost the plot somewhere. Oh, here it is. So it is on the main block. My apologies. This yttrium barium cuprate wire. As you can probably guess from the title of it, if we were to follow this back to its ingot form, wire cutter, get to the ingot, get back to this powder, or this dust. Here it is. So to get our yttrium dust, we need barium, copper. These two we have plenty, but we don't have yttrium. Is long story short, the reason I had to start processing the rare earth. The way it is being processed is with bees. Luckily, the redstone bee has rare earth comes as its secondary. The rare earth comes when you centrifuge them. Bring this guy up. You bring out the just straight rare earth. Rare earth you have to run through a chemical bath, so that is being run through this chemical bath, which is shows water in there, but power loss. Weird. Incomplete structure. What is happening? Oh. I made a mistake. Let's see. High amp. That's really funny. Sorry. Got myself distracted. So all that shut down. But it's because I dropped 2 IV high amp transformers in a row. This should be a EV high amp transformer, or EV extreme transformer, then a diode to then come down, because these guys are both being run at EV. Although I might just upgrade them to IV, because that's really not a big deal anymore. But that's fine. So all my cables burned up and it stopped processing. But anyways, so the rare earth dust is coming in here. This is chemical bath. It pops out the rare earth, which after it comes here, rare earth 1 ore, which then we macerate. But if we follow it all the way through on here, we basically go through this path. Which you can see, we actually get some nether quartz as some byproducts in here, but ultimately what ends up coming out, the thing we're looking for, is this rare earth 1 dust, and then this is what's run through the dehydrator and ultimately gets us the yttrium. But the reason I couldn't end up building the multi-block is specifically getting this molten xeron. As you can see, it's an LUV recipe. However, and I end up having to go to the wiki because I thought the game was like trolling me. If you throw down 2 IV hatches, that will not overclock this machine. This machine is unoverclockable. You need to use just 1 energy hatch. So now that I'm thinking about it, I'd never tried throwing a 16 amp IV hatch on there. I might do that just to see if it works and to be able to craft this, but ultimately it looks like I need to get into LV to craft this, which means I need to be in LV to LUV to craft this multi-block, so hence the random single block here. And then this was actually the first thing I did today, and then that rabbit hole kind of ended in nothing. I believe we got quite a bit of yttrium out of that before. Yeah, nearly 10,000 before all those wires burned up. So it's kind of interesting that it actually lasted that long before it burned up. Usually that stuff burns up instantly, so that is odd. But anyways, I'll fix that later. Actually, yeah, it looks like it actually made it explode. That's funny. I didn't even notice this dirt was all missing. That's crazy. Huh. Anyways, so hopping over here, the last thing. So my main goal for today was to make tier 3 rocket fuel. But yesterday, what I didn't really emphasize was that I was using like a band-aid process. This is a P2P network to get more channels over here from the main controller. And as you can see, this ended up using 29 channels just for this setup to get the type of plastic we got yesterday. So my original plan was I was going to upgrade this building after going into the tier 3 rocket and then getting those planets, and then while the miners were running I would upgrade this. Like I had planned on this kind of being my weekend project. However, since I am kind of like in dire need of channels over here, I didn't want to just throw down yet another P2P off the main controller and just have it like build up even more as things I had to fix. So I did come over here and set up this P2P sub network, even using better color differentiation this time. It's pretty much said this is going to be my standard, I think. We got the white network is the main network, and I am going to keep 2 P2Ps over here because this building has a lot of like one-off processing lines, so I know I'm going to use more than 32 channels ultimately in this building, so I am just going to start right off the bat with 2 P2Ps over here, and then if I need more, or 2 main network P2Ps over here, and then if I need more I can add more, but I think 2 will suit me just fine for a while. I do have the 2 networks connected by fluid and storage buses on extract only. I don't have any level maintainers yet, but if I decide to go that route for a bunch of these machines up here, I just figured I might as well set this up on the fluid discretionator to be able to see fluid drops on the network. Just some crafting terminals. While doing that, I also kind of like cleaning up the layouts. So for example, what was here before was 2 different pyrolyze ovens. So instead, I figured I might as well upgrade all this stuff while I'm going. Now we've got the industrial coke oven. Need one to take wood and turn it into coal coke. This one takes the coal coke and turns it into coal tar, which then is distilled in here, and then ultimately leads all down here to making some phthalic acid, which I do need to get this. I started with this one just as kind of, it was a nice and clean one, plus it'll be good to speed this up because I do use quite a bit of this stuff. But as you can see, I'm going kind of my standard for now, where I've got the main network inputting the stuff that isn't kept on this sub network, and then everything exporting on the sub network. And then if it happens to be an item, like in this case, this guy makes the coal coke, and that is exported on this network, so I just have it importing back off this network and saving mainnet channels where I can. These distilleries, the way I usually go about them is I just do quad or whatever the number is for 9, however you say it, style bronze pipes down into 1 super tank to then export, just to save on channels. Probably don't need to do that now. I could probably do 5 output buses and 9 output buses over there, but I don't know, it just feels a little silly. And that's kind of where I got to before I started filming this video for today. This quad input hatch right here is not actually going to work because this process right here needs sulfuric acid, and then one of the, I believe it's sulfuric coal tar, if I remember correctly, that is the final or the lowest on here, but is what we use and actually process. Plus I upgraded these little distilleries to EV because they are the this stuff, this oh no, this is the sulfuric coal tar. So I think oh yeah, I believe it's coal tar oil. But either way, it comes into here, and then instead of a distillation tower, this recipe only processes in a distillery, which ultimately works its way over here. So to make the phthalic acid. But I do plan on doing that for each floor, swapping it out. Once I actually got this initial setup going, this part of it is pretty fast because, I mean, all this stuff is set up. I just need to... Basically, the inputs are mostly going to come off the main network and then output buses onto the P2P network. Should be relatively smooth to upgrade the rest of this, and I'll probably, if any of them are for some reason running at HV, just for simplicity's sake, I'll upgrade them to EV just to keep them moving faster. I don't want any overclocks because the overclock shut down, all that stuff I've said before. But and then once I get this finished set up on this floor, I'll probably build another floor onto this, and then up here will be our rocket fuel line, and that is my goal for tomorrow, is to get the tier 3 rocket fuel. That way I basically have the weekend to that'll kind of work out better, I think, anyways, to very chill on the weekend, go through and set up miners and explore the new planets and all that jazz. But yeah, that's what I did today. That's what I'm gonna keep on working on. I hope everybody has a good night. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.